Peeps, what is going on, my fresh takers? It is good to be back with you guys. I am so excited, y'all. We get to finally do the review for Deadpool and Wolverine. Ooh, let's go. I'm so excited, y'all. As y'all can see, I have been waiting for this one. Let me tell you, I absolutely love Wolverine. Just to kind of give you a history on my fandom of superheroes, Batman was the first superhero that really meant something to me. It was very special because Batman was pretty popular around the time I was born. Because you had Batman that came out in '89, and then they started doing Batman movies in the '90s, and then the animated Batman series. Then you had Blade. Blade, who just really kind of first black superhero I saw, and that was a wrap. And then Wolverine shows up. So Wolverine definitely means a lot to me as a superhero. So the fact that we got Hugh Jackman to return as Wolverine, I have been so excited for this movie. And then of course to pair him with Deadpool, and Deadpool's freaking hilarious. I knew this was going to be a wild ride. So here's what I'm going to do. I know I was kind of saying I was going to do a spoiler review. There is so much in this movie. I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys. I want to get this out to you guys as soon as possible, and I feel like if I do a spoiler review, you guys are not gonna go watch it, because then you'll know what's happening, and I really don't want to do that to you guys. I may come on and do like a whole spoiler filled review later, or kind of talk about everything. But for this one, I'm going to keep it spoiler free because I love you guys and I want you guys to go see this ASAP. So let's get into it. My overall thoughts of Deadpool and Wolverine. I really liked it. They did a good job. Everything looked amazing. But there were a couple frustrations I had, and I can explain those without ruining too much. There's some of the frustrations that I'd have to give more detail that I really can't, but some of the frustrations I can go over. But I really want to go into what I really liked about this movie. So, so I promise this is not ruining anything for you guys. The beginning scene, the opening scene, is Deadpool fighting. That's all I'm going to say, is Deadpool fighting. And he is fighting to NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye. And when I tell you, this has become easily and quickly one of my favorite fight scenes, just because of how great it looked, special effects wise, how funny it was, and just, it was just a great way to open a movie. You know, they did make you wait long. People kind of talk about Deadpool, the first one, when he was listening to Salt and Pepper, and how that whole, like, people talked about that. This is basically the newer version of that, and it is amazing. I really loved it. And his the way he was dancing, and everybody knows what I'm talking about. If you're fans of NSYNC like me, you know the bye bye bye, the bye 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 bye. Yeah, that was hilarious. He did the whole dance. He was dancing in the middle of the fight scenes, which just added a whole lot to it. And then for them to, the way they did it when they started the movie, and then they kind of stopped, and then was like, okay, let's basically foreshadow, like, how did I get here? And I thought that was pretty cool too. So they did a really good job with how to open a movie, because I thought it didn't keep us waiting long at all for laughing and action. And then it was like, pause, how do we get here? And then it, goes through, how to get there, and then you're there, and then it goes to the rest of the movie. So I thought that was really cool. They did a great job there. Now here's the thing with Deadpool. There are a lot of things that Deadpool does in his movies that normally you're like, if this was anybody else, you would not be able to get away with this. And the jokes in this movie The language in this movie was wild. I mean, wild. Which I can see, I'm laughing still, and I went and saw it last night. I'm laughing still. But also not just the jokes, but breaking the fourth wall and some of the things that he says. Yes, sometimes it was a little frustrating because then you felt like it was taking away from the actual story that was being told. And I will say that is one of my frustrations. I'll go into that. That is one of my frustrations with this movie, and not the previous Deadpool movies, but because this one was tying in or introducing, or whatever you want to call it, a lot of different elements and cameos and timelines. We all know the TVA is involved. We saw the trailers. So being that there were a lot of things that went into this movie, sometimes that whole fourth wall, or breaking the fourth wall and making those jokes, sometimes I was like, can we not do that at this point in the story or the scene or whatever? That was a frustration I did have with the movie, where sometimes I feel like it could be a bit too much, or it was like, okay, maybe that really wasn't needed, because we're really trying to there's already a lot going on, and we're trying to keep up with the story. It's basically like, imagine trying to read a book and your siblings in your ear cracking jokes. Now, granted, they're hilarious, but then they keep cracking jokes. You're like, okay, you're kind of distracting me from the book I'm reading. Like, even though you've read the book and you're making commentary on it and you're making jokes and it's funny, you're distracting me from understanding the book, and there's a lot going on. It's kind of like that. So that was a frustration I had, but it wasn't a frustration where I still wasn't enjoying the movie, because it's Deadpool. I was still going to enjoy the movie. But that was still a frustration for me. My other frustration, and it really isn't too bad, but I feel like if they would have made this change, I would have felt a lot better with my rating. So I did feel like, in how they explained the story and what was going on, I felt like sometimes they waited too long to explain what you were seeing. Like, there were certain when you see the movie, there are certain things that happen, and you're like, okay, well, how did we get here? Or why is that person here? Or what, like, you're trying to put everything together, and it doesn't get explained until like a little bit later, and you're like, okay, well, why didn't y'all explain that off rip? Why didn't y'all explain that immediately? That way, like, catch us up, because it's a movie where there's already a lot going on. So it's like, okay, y'all could have put this part of the script here, and it would have gelled a little bit better. So that's where I felt like they could have executed better on the script. I felt like there was a lot more effort put into making it funny, and Ryan Reynolds being Deadpool, which is great. They stayed true to who they are, and I love that, and I do appreciate that they didn't try to change too much of who Deadpool is with him being a part of Disney. Like, round of applause to Disney. The fact that they really let Deadpool be Deadpool, because everybody was worried that, oh, well, now that Deadpool is owned by Disney, he's going to get nerfed. It's probably going to go down to a PG-13 version. They let it go. They just let him go, and it was awesome. But I'm like, okay, we still got a job to do. There's a lot to explain here. So that is a knock I give it. But overall, I will say I had an amazing time in the movie theater. Obviously, I'm not ruining anything. There are a lot of cameos. Some of them, there were cameos where you're like, there's just a lot going on in the scene. There's a lot of people on screen, and it's, I probably missed a couple of cameos because there just was a lot of people, but I had a great time. There was even one cameo where I yelled out in the movie theater. I'm sorry, y'all. I was the black man that yelled out in the movie theater. I didn't say anything. It was more like a noise, because I really did not see that cameo coming, and it jerked at the nostalgia part of my childhood. So I was I was in. The only thing that I wish could have been changed, I don't know if I can tell y'all. I'm gonna tell you guys. I'm gonna tell you guys because I think they've already said that she was in it. So if you guys watch Logan, basically everybody that kept calling her X-23, they were calling her Wolverine's daughter, which she really wasn't. She is in the movie, and I feel kind of robbed because they really didn't have their own moment. I think there was a lot going on, and script wise, they just, they were cut short on time, I guess. But even though it wasn't her Logan, we basically we know that it wasn't her Logan. I felt like they could have had at least more of a moment or had a conversation of like, hey, this was the way my Logan was, or kind of what she's been up to since. It didn't really give a whole lot of what she had been up to since Logan passed, and it was, yeah. So I felt like the ball was dropped there. Now I would say that was my biggest one, frustration wise, that I needed them to change. But outside of that, y'all, I had a great time. I love seeing movie theaters packed. It was packed. The parking lot was full. I love seeing that. Yes, there are some times where I do like my movie theaters a little light, but it just depends on the mood I'm in. But when it comes to Marvel, I love when the movie theater is packed. And it was packed. I had people sitting to my left and to my right, and I like that. I am so good with that. So I really hope you guys are gonna enjoy this movie. I think that it is a great time, especially if you're a Marvel fan. If you're a Deadpool fan, you are in for a treat. To me, obviously, each Deadpool has gotten better, and that is saying something, because not every Marvel character has been like that. I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy, absolutely 1, 2, 3, and each one got better. I feel like Black Panther's on that same trajectory. 2 was better, even though we were missing Chadwick, RIP Chadwick. 2 was better than the first. First was still good, but they've gotten better. Thor, see, perfect example. Thor, the first movie was cool, second movie was trash, third, people have mixed feelings on the third. Iron Man 1 was great, 2 not bad, 3 meh. So it just, not every Marvel character is gonna have improvements from 1, 2 to 3 if they even get to a third. So they did a great job with just improving each movie. Like I said, they had a lot on the to-do list with this script and this movie, and so obviously I feel like when you have a lot to do and they either wanted to go big or go home, obviously there's going to be some things that are missed. I'm not tripping too much on that. My thing was, am I going to enjoy myself? Is it gonna make sense? Yes, there were some things where it was like, okay, that really wasn't explained that great, or how does that work with what has been and what's going on now, what will happen in the future? Yes, you're gonna have some questions, you're gonna be a little confused, but for the most part, I felt like they still gave you a good time, and they tried to clean up and explain as much as possible. So they're trying to, and I give them credit, they're trying to take movies and I'll say timelines. They're trying to take characters and timelines that they didn't have a hand in, that came before Disney became who they are with Marvel. They're trying to tie up loose ends, tie all this stuff together. It's a lot. So I at least appreciate that they gave me a good ride while they were trying to explain all this stuff. So I am looking forward to how they kind of make all this make sense with what they have done in the MCU, and then what they're trying to incorporate with the X-Men and Deadpool and, God list of, all of Blade, everything. So great job. I will give this a rating if, what would I say? So out of, I'm kind of stumped, because I'm trying to think of the movie what I could call this rating. Um, we'll just say Deadpools. Out of 10 Deadpools, I'm gonna give this 8. I'm gonna give it 8. The reason why it doesn't go higher is because of some of the frustrations I had. If my frustrations with the movie were a little bit on the smaller side, I'd probably go 8, somewhere between 8.5 and 9, somewhere between there. But I will say the reason why I still get to 8, a really strong 8, is because, like I said, it was a lot on their plate, and it was go big or go home, and they didn't go home. So for the most part, with what they had to handle, they went big, and I enjoyed it, and I had a good time. And they took a couple liberties with some stuff, but it happens. It happens. But I had a great time, and I had a lot of laughs. You will laugh from beginning to end. It's just, even the credits, you will laugh from beginning to end, and that covers a lot of issues. If you're laughing in a movie from beginning to end, beginning, middle, and end, you're not gonna have a lot of complaints or say the movie was trash. I'm just gonna be honest. Whether it's action, comedy, even if it's a horror movie, sometimes horror movies, if they make you laugh, you're like, okay, even though it wasn't supposed to make me laugh, I still had a good time. So laughter cures all, and that is very true. So like I said, guys, not going to give anything away. I'm gonna try and find a way where I can talk about what you guys saw, in another avenue, in another way. I want to interact with you guys on that, because I think that would be fun to talk to you guys and about what you saw, what you liked. But I didn't want to ruin it for you guys. I wanted to get this out as soon as possible, because I have some of my friends and people I know, they try to sneak around and get me to tell them what I think of a movie after I've seen it. I'm like, nope, go watch Fresh Take Cinema Show, and you will see my rating there. I'm not telling you. You gotta go there. So I wanted to get this done and get this out as soon as possible. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Please, if you have not subscribed, thank you so much for the love. The views have been crazy. The comeback has been real. I really appreciate that I came back and you guys missed me and were ready to get back on this train and let's go. And I really appreciate that. But please, if you are new, if you've never seen this show, but you like it, please subscribe. Please tell other people that that are into movies that, hey, I know someone who does movie reviews. I would love that. You guys are knocking The Quiet Place review out of the park, and I really appreciate that. It's the highest viewed video I've put out, and literally it's still going. That review's been out for a little over 2 weeks, and you guys are still lighting the views up, and I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. But please subscribe if you haven't. I really love you guys, and I do this partially for you as well as me, because this is a passion of mine. So thank you guys for rocking with me. For those who have been with me from the beginning to those that will watch this for the first time, thank you so much. I love all of you guys. I hope you guys are safe. I hope you guys have a great time at the movie theater, and I will see you guys later. Peace.